In the annals of American history, the Civil Rights Movement stands as a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who fought for justice and equality. While the movement tackled various forms of discrimination, one crucial battle took place in the realm of education. As Frederick Douglass once said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress," and the Civil Rights Movement encapsulates this perfectly. Activists tirelessly worked to close the gap of education inequality, which resulted in incredible progress. However, as we look around in our society and see the education inequalities that still exist today, we can see that the struggle is far from over. A landmark in the fight for equality in education is the Supreme Court case Brown v. Board of Education. In 1954, the court declared segregated schools unconstitutional, challenging the long-standing separate but equal doctrine. Brown v. Board of Education was a watershed moment, proving that education should be equal. Now, it's 2023, almost 70 years after Brown v. Board was overturned, and the same inequalities that existed in our schools then linger now. You might even say that the inequalities have grown. According to the recent research by the nonprofit EdBuild, more than half of the nation's school children are in racially concentrated districts, where over 75% of the students are either white or non-white. In addition, school districts are often segregated by income and then are less funded. The nexus of racial and economic segregation has intensified educational gaps between rich and poor students, and between white students and students of color. According to the Century Foundation, which looked at over 27,000 students in Wisconsin, this area has a black-white segregation rating of 0.73, where 0 represents no demographic differences between schools and 10 represents total separation of black and white students. These recent statistics are alarming, but let's remember Ruby Bridges. In the 1960s, she helped integrate William Frantz Elementary School in New Orleans, Louisiana. Yet the hope for full integration was never achieved. Although it's now closed, the school was completely segregated before its closing. It had a 100% black population at the school, according to a public school review, and 94% of the students were eligible for free and reduced lunch. Despite efforts to dismantle the doctrine of separate but equal in schools, the stains of America's deep-seated and systemic racism continue today. In addition to increasingly segregated schools, the funding of schools also creates disparities that exacerbate inequalities in our society. Some schools have state-of-the-art facilities, technology, and resources, while others lack basic necessities like air conditioning. This means students from underfunded schools are less likely to graduate, have lower college enrollment rates, and face diminished economic prospects. Funding disparities have far-reaching consequences for our communities and the overall well-being of our society. We all know that education should be the great equalizer, but when some schools receive significantly more funding than others, it perpetuates systemic inequalities and reinforces societal divisions. What's the answer? Free, equal education for all? More funding for schools? More integration and desegregation? All of the above? First, we must acknowledge that the system we have right now isn't working well for most of America's children. Remember how Frederick Douglass said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress"? Well, the struggle continues, so the progress must as well. For me, that means growing up and never wasting the opportunity of good education that I've been given. And however naive it sounds, I'll try to close the gap of education inequalities when I grow up. Most of all, we should all remember that the struggle continues. It's not a linear or straightforward path. So let us march forward, armed with knowledge as our shield and persistence as our sword, until all children receive the education they deserve.